everybody. Today's video starts a 4-week-long video series on interactive balloon creations. Yes, these balloons are not only fun, but you can also use them for other things. For example, today's video is going to be a puzzle. Other samples in the upcoming weeks include movable balloons, balloons that have motion to them, balloons that tell stories, and just really fun games that you can play. So let's jump right into today's balloon. We are going to be making a puzzle called the Tower of Hanoi. Now, I'd like to talk to you a little bit first about the Tower of Hanoi and tell you how the puzzle works and how it's played, and then we'll get into making it. Although, I'm pretty sure now that you look at it, you can kind of see how it's made. But I'll show you anyway. Now, when a lot of people think about the Tower of Hanoi, when they think of the name, or if they hear the name, they think of some ancient puzzle. But the Tower of Hanoi was actually invented in the late 1800s by a Frenchman. And the rules for the tower are really simple. There's only 3. Rule number 1. Each move consists of taking the uppermost disc of a tower and moving it to a different peg. The second rule is that you can only move one disc at a time. And the third rule, the most important rule, is that no disc can sit on top of a smaller disc. They always have to be in ascending order. Now, the object of the puzzle is to get all of the discs from one peg to another peg. Now, I made 5 discs here, but the more discs you add, the harder the puzzle is, and the longer it takes. So the number of discs that I add depends on the age of the person that I'm making it for. If I'm making this for younger children, like elementary school age, I'll just give them 3 discs. If I make it for an older child, I'll give them 4 or 5. There was actually a gentleman who came into one of the restaurants I performed at a while back, and he had mentioned that he really liked puzzles. So I made him a 10-disc Tower of Hanoi, and he sat there for the longest time, like really concentrating. He got it, but it took a while. He was happy with it, so. I'll also put a link in the description below where you can read more about the Tower of Hanoi if you'd like. But right now, let's get into building it. Start off by getting a 360 and blowing it up about 3/4 of the way. I usually leave a little bit more than a hand's width. Okay, and now we are going to make a triangle with this. Split the balloon into thirds, and then fold it together to make a triangle. Just like this. Now get 3 260s, then you're going to make a bubble on the end of the 260s and twist 1 260 into each of the corners of the triangle. And there we go. If you want to secure them with an extra pinch twist here to make sure that they go straight up, you can do so. It's very important that all 3 260s are going straight up. Next, measure up about a foot and a half. Right about there. And then we're going to break off the extra, and we are going to make the other 260s the exact same size. There we go. It's okay if they're not all perfect, just as long as they're roughly the same size. Now, set this aside. Okay, next we're going to be making the rings. So I have 4 260s and I have 1 160. If you're going to do 5 rings, start with the lowest ring being about 2 hands widths, tying it off, and then bringing it together. Just like this. Now get your second 260, and we are going to leave a little bit more slack. So I'm going to do 2 hands widths, just like that, and then I'm going to do 2 fingers. So we have 2 fingers more slack than the last ring. And then we tie it together. Now let's check our sizing. We have our largest ring here, and the second largest ring should nestle right on top, and you can clearly tell it's smaller. Okay, 2 rings down and 3 to go. For the last 3 rings, all you're going to make sure is that each next ring that you make gets a little bit smaller. And the last ring, the 160, should be the smallest, and that should fit kind of loose around one of the pegs. Okay, now it's time to put it all together. I cleaned up the ends of the loops. We take the largest one, put that on first. We take the next size smaller, put that one on, and we keep going. And here we have the Tower of Hanoi puzzle. Okay, now that's going to do it for today's video. I'm also going to put out a special bonus video on Monday. Just a quick little video. We've already covered how to make the puzzle and how the puzzle works, but I wanted to show you the puzzle in action. And that's what Monday's video is going to be on. But as for this video, we're all done for today, so I'll catch you guys on Monday. Bye-bye! Huh? Oh, geez, that was weird.